zoo and dinosaurs, a very aggressive team, it looks like.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, in standard, we have Esper Midrange, classic, good cards deck, a lot of rares. Looks like we have
Ooh,
the mono black Waste Knot.
does seem like they don't have an untapped black land, which is gonna be real unfortunate for them because that means they can't kill the elves, and that can potentially be trouble.
Getting in there for one, playing a Raptor. Looks like we're gonna have 5 drops coming down next turn.
Well, we do know I think we
Ooh,
think
and a
they
Field of Ruin, this mana base might be pretty awkward for the mono black deck.
yeah, but I think they are gonna fatal push the raptor, I guess.
Oh, I'd definitely get
Yeah,
rid of the Raptor.
because that's such a threat, but that still means you can get down some very scary 3s or 4s next turn. Yeah, it
Let's
looks
see
like
if this black deck has any sweepers in the main. Here comes the, is
Hammer
that a Hammer
Skull.
Skull? A
Yep,
3 mana 6/6 coming down on turn 3?
and now he's got seemingly multiple waste knots in hand. Yeah, I think that's 2 waste knots in hand, and then
And
maybe
a Thoughtseize, so
and
we're
then
gonna get
also a
some value
Thoughtseize.
off of this right away.
And
What do we have left?
we see a creature, and we see just a stomping ground in hand left. So he's kind of run out of gas already.
Now we have a blocker for the Hammer Skull.
And now the Hammer Skull also can't attack without getting that sun counter
Yep,
because
it's
it
kind of
doesn't
a
have any
6 damage on suspend every turn.
yeah. Ooh, but that's a massive top deck because that's gonna let
Here
him attack
comes 10 damage.
10 damage, and now crucially the Hammer Skull doesn't get the sun counter. So, like
Yep, this is huge for Eli. Looks like he might just run away with this game. That Liliana's not gonna do anything with that elf sitting over there. And we have 1 extinction event in the deck, but that's only gonna clean up 2 creatures at max on this board.
yeah, because like, you can only hit auto you
I don't even know which one's better because that, uh
I mean, given he's got the Lily in hand, I'd presume that you would go with Odd, but yeah, they're both gonna be pretty terrible.
he's also gonna have to draw it, so
Yeah,
looks like we have Cling to Dust, Liliana, Fatal Push, and
another
a
waste
Waste
not,
Knot.
yeah, so you might try and, like yeah, you might Liliana
We might
and fe
Field of Ruin,
fe
Fatal Push.
Field Push is not crazy, neither is, like, Push Liliana down tick,
Yep, I'm okay with that.
but
But
seems
we're
like it's
just gonna do
just a
nothing.
pass. Probably going for the Field Push just on later turn.
Are we playing that extra elf? I get it, he's not getting any better, but
I think it's reasonable because of the waste not, because having a card in hand can just be a liability
you
with the waste not on the field.
yeah, you're kinda forced to play all of your cards at this point.
Yeah, because and now I think he's gotta be pushing I'm not actually sure, I think I would go for the Raptor here just so that the Hammer Skull doesn't untap.
Well, if he's at 5 life, he has to get rid of
Oh, yeah. I mean, if he's
oh,
at 5 life, he's
he's
just
dead
dead.
if he's not
I didn't think he was on 5 life, I
what
think it's just life total
12?
problem.
Okay,
Yeah.
there we go. And we
So,
do have a well, I thought I saw a Cling in hand, but maybe I was wrong.
yeah, so he's going with the Raptor here, probably gonna cling something as well.
Yep, and now this Hammer Skull is gonna get a stun counter.
Yeah, so he's down to 5, but only really
He's
got 2
facing down
damage.
2 damage next
Yeah,
turn.
so maybe could potentially be able to turn the corner, but kinda needs to
Was that a Shieldred off the top? That might be exactly what he needed to get back into this game.
I mean, yeah, shield would be crucial here. Yep.
There it is.
Yeah, that's really important now 'cause,
You know, just have to find a way to get rid of this Hammer Skull without losing the Shieldred. I mean, we are way ahead. We're gonna
and
get
there's
you some
also, I
value.
think, a guy with Sanitarium in there, in the lands of his, which is gonna be great
Oh,
with
yep, it must be that promo
which
there.
yeah, and that's gonna be great with both shielded and with not
Oh,
because,
yeah, we're buffering the life
yeah,
total. I
'cause
see another one off the
yeah,
top
and
there.
now he can just now he could even play a second waste not and then Gaia Reach or just Gaia Reach right now, like, and so now
Yeah,
he gets another
draw
2/2
through these
and
2, get a 2/2.
I mean, like, I think he could very reasonably be turning the corner now and, like, having those yeah,
There's the Lily Line. We can
and
just start picking off elves,
yeah,
that's fine.
and having
We've
the
got
2
blockers.
having the 2/2 to block the Hammer Skull is so huge here now, like
Oh, yeah, the life totals are almost completely reversed at this point. And with this Gaia Reach Sanitarium and 2 Waste Knots, the second one, I imagine, would be coming up next turn. This board state's just
yeah,
about
so now you
locked
just
up.
chump with the zombie and
And do it every turn.
you have yeah, you have infinite zombie chumps. Him attacking means he almost certainly didn't draw a dino, and But he also what's he gonna do? He's just gonna not play anything? You can't do that because then you just uptick Lily and, like, get extra value there.
Yeah, it would be, pretty disappointing to see him just hold on to something, but I don't
Okay, so he's
Besayu,
but
sure.
Sage doing a Gaia, which is not terrible.
Well, he
I
did discard the other guy
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely gonna be useful. But then, like, now I still just like
when we have Castle Locthwain, Liliana, Sheoldred, the
yeah,
Waste Not,
and that Hammersko's not even untapping it yet,
I
like
don't see this getting better for you, though. We might finally see him lose a game today.
and Dykeman won't even get to see it.
I know. He's probably watching intently.
So he's
Here's
playing
the other Wasteland, here's the Lily. We have
yep,
no cards for either player.
and yeah, Eli's down to 12, and Brennan's gonna gain a life
Man,
when
that stun counter is huge.
but and now actually the effectively at even life totals because Castle Lockthwain's gonna be mana positive,
Yep,
or I guess
sure,
Cling to
cling.
Dust. Um,
Looks like we're gonna draw a card, get rid of Saju.
yeah, I mean that's gonna gain you 2 life there,
Yep,
so and like at this point,
so
such
yeah,
a
Heartless Act, I
Call
mean,
Act can kill the Hammerskull,
we can get rid of the whole board, sack with Lily,
Sacrificially,
kill
Shielded's
whatever's
Edict
left.
or whatever. Yeah,
Here comes Sheoldred for 4.
Shielded smacking through.
Let's scoop him
Yeah, I mean,
away.
yeah,
Come
the
on, let's
game
go to game 2.
even Eli's, like, best draw would is not gonna be able to
Here we
let
go.
through it,
Another land off the top
Heartless
of
Act,
board.
yep, and, I mean, it was looking scary for Waste Not for a little bit there, but Shielded just completely carried that game, definitely.
Yeah, did he have any, non-creature spells that he might have been drawing to? Maybe
Um,
get rid of that Sheoldred in the main, or
he got he actually doesn't, which is he got Reckless Rage, but
close.
that only deals 4,
Yep,
so that
and you
can't
need another creature.
and you need another creature in play. And you've and looking now, you've got, Force Convoke up against, um
Looks like Esper mid-range. I
yeah,
see a
the
Dennick and a
mid-range.
Lord Skitter.
And, I mean,
This is a
Warden's
good place to be for the Esper deck. I understand that, we're activating the Warden every turn, but having a lifelinker in play against 1/1s is just beautiful for the Convoke deck. This Warden's gonna take a while before it starts flying,
yeah.
and they're playing off the
What they
top.
kind of need is, like, an Imitating Scooter here now, 'cause, if they don't get that, they're in just really bad shape.
Oh, we need to get this game over with as soon as possible.
I
There's a
that's a
Knight, that's a good start.
Knight's a great top deck here, like, I might so the question is, how much do you Convoke with? I probably Convoke with 3 here, but I don't know.
So I would do the Convoke for 3 just because 'cause we're looking for a recruiter,
Yeah, yeah.
but you need to hit another spell so that you can activate this Warden as well while we're in this, board
I mean,
stall, right?
that's the question, right? And, like
But then this also opens you up to just hit any other 3 drop in the deck. What else
yep.
do we have in this Convoke deck?
Yeah, so this Convoke deck also is gonna be playing it's got 2 of the Sanguine Evangelists,
Beautiful. That's
which
one of
are
those cards you'd be
also
looking for.
I mean, it's really great here, especially if you can get, like, that plus a Rakuda would obviously be great. It also does have Resolute Reinforcements, which would be and you
It
see a
looks like we hit
yeah,
one of those,
you
and
see
it
a
might be an
Resolute
Inspector.
yeah, and Resolute Reinforcements can also quickly is, like it's a very mana efficient play where any of their good
Mhm.
3s, they're gonna have to wait till next turn to play, and now you can Resolute and even activate 1 while still having the block of
With the
the Knight,
4/4
like
blocker. Yeah, this is beautiful.
yeah, so I'd probably Resolute here over the House Inspector, like,
Most definitely. You're
just
not gonna
mana
be able to
efficiency
crack that clue. Um,
and you'd love to see them hit you'd love to scry into, like, a Cuda here 'cause
and it pretty much shut off all the attacks for the Esper deck that it might have had. I understand that they're under more pressure, but with a bunch of 1/1s and a 2/3, I mean, they could have
mm.
got in for some damage,
So
potentially.
they're actually going with the Inspector route. They still get to keep their Knight back, but I'm not sure how much I like that because it makes top decking a 3 a lot less appealing.
Yeah, I just wanna see more bodies on the ground.
Yeah, that's also a
And
big
that
thing
that
there.
clue, you can crack it on like, you can play Inspector and crack it when you have 3 mana. Having 2
Yeah, yeah,
mana and not being mana efficient is really rough,
yeah, so
especially when this Esper deck doesn't have any main deck sweepers.
yep, and, like,
There's no reason not to
of
overextend.
course, they don't necessarily know that, but and also they're tapping the, Warden, or they're not tapping the Warden, which I'm also am not a fan of. Like
and they're doing it main is Warden sorcery speed only?
I'm pretty sure one in sorcery speed only, but I would have preferred to keep up the knight because you actually want them to use a removal spell on the
Yep,
knight, and
because it's
so
already drawn you 2 cards, right?
because
I mean,
it's already gotten you all the value
get
it's gonna
3
give
more
you,
ones.
and the warden is now a very scary threat, so I would prefer to have the knight as a blocker here instead of warden, and you can see it does it yeah, it's actually only as a sorcery, but it does not say other, so you would
Yeah,
be
I'm leaving up the 4/4. It's a better body. You don't wanna get like, they need to kill the Warden at some point, but you don't want it to be this turn. You want it to
yeah,
be
and really
after you're
and
already
really if they're gonna kill the
closing it
warden
out.
if they kill the warden this turn, then having the knight up would be I mean, they can't attack with anything. Maybe, like, Fennec, but even then, it's just like and so, yeah, I'm not a big fan of that play, but
No, it looks like, we've got an impressive, deck list here with no Deep Cavern Bat in the main
wow.
deck. Looks like they've opted for Doorkeeper Thrall instead. How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's tough, like, Rookie Patrol is probably reasonably solid in this matchup,
It's
like,
incredible in this matchup.
it shuts down, the Novice Inspector, shuts down the Resolute Reinforcement, shuts down Recruiter, shuts down Knight, like, it's great in this matchup, but, like, I mean, so is especially given there's so little mana on or there's so little removal for the Boros Convoke player, being able to hit, like, their 1 case or whatever, and then just
I think I'd rather have the bat than the
yeah.
Doorkeeper Keeper Thrall in the main deck anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I
The
think,
bat's
like
better in a general metagame where the
yeah.
Thrall is very targeted.
And, maybe you can be expecting to play against a lot of Convoke 'cause it does have kind of the most obvious,
It's the deck that got the existing deck that got the biggest upgrade,
yeah.
right? We have
They're
Inspiring Vantage over Thran Portal. Maybe the worst card that I have ever registered for a tournament.
I was seeing a Japanese Boros Convoke list that was still playing 2 Grand Portals, and I was like, "You just gotta let it go at
You know,
some point."
I trust the Japanese deck builders. I do not trust Thran Portal.
I'm not sure. I think that might be an Emanating Recruiter still in the Adventure Zone, and that may just be
That is
lethal.
very
I
possible,
think that
unless it got no moralized, which is
yeah,
also possible,
but
but
if they just cast it here, I think that would be
oh,
lethal.
I believe they go for the throated it, and then Lord Skitter would have eaten it
Oh,
out of the
yes,
yard.
that also makes sense,
Yep.
yeah. And so and I mean, what, now you're attacking in for 5, maybe 6 if you go all in. They do have a flying blocker in the Restless Anchorage, which should be noted, like, they can
Yeah,
pump that up to block, but, I mean
I feel like the Boros deck is kind of building towards a huge attack that'll just get through all of these blockers. 'Cause Dennick's gonna gain 2 life, we have a 3/3 that's gonna eat something, and the Restless Anchorage is decent that it has flying and 2/3 body moves against all these 1/1s. But it's 7 life, Mori might just not have a chance or have
yeah.
time to
I mean,
mess around.
I'm wondering, like, they might have, like, I mean, what are you gonna do here as Moy, right? If you have no removal spell in hand, you're just going
So
down to
I don't
2,
see that.
like, that's
Yeah, go to 2. This just gets worse and worse for the Esper player as the game
yeah,
goes
I
on.
mean, not to, like, call it too soon, but with no sweepers in their deck, I can hardly imagine getting
And I'm unsure that even like a Virtue of Loyalty or a Raccoon could get them out of this at this point.
yeah. I
There's a Wanderer.
Wandering Emperor tragically cannot hit the Warden because it's got Vigilance, so it just
Yep,
doesn't tap, and that's gonna be really huge here. It does give them an important life cushion, but, like, I just I think it's just too little too late here, like, they've the Warden's gonna be a lethal threat forever
yep.
now, and they have Resolute Reinforcements in hand.
Yeah, spending your 4 mana to gain 2 life just isn't enough
Yeah,
in
they've
this
got
matchup.
2 clues to sack whenever they want to as well, in case they really need to, like, dig to, like, a recruiter or something, and also, like, they're at the point where like, a Case would be an insane top deck, War
Yep,
Leader's Call would be and the Rats can't even block, which means
yep.
they are pretty much I believe, with the Resolute Reinforcements on the battlefield, they're just dead here because 'cause they've got 4 blockers, including the Anchorage, and that's gonna and there'd be
Looks
uh
like gaining 2 life off the Dennick.
and taking 5 from so I guess they'd be at what? 4, and I guess yeah, so technically they could survive out 1 if they I mean, the life total hasn't adjusted since the Warden attack, it
Right,
seems
they
like.
took 5 and then they gained 2,
So
so
they
they
should
should
be
be
at
at 4
4,
right now.
and with 4 blockers total up, they can block
They
Warden
can chump and take they can chump, trade 1,
and
beat 1, and take 2. That's what we're looking
but
at
there's
right
also
now,
a Resolute Reinforcements
which
in
is
hand.
exactly
Yeah,
lethal,
so
and I don't
unless
think that and
and
Mori knows about it as well.
no one knows about it, though there is Dunnock has the lifelink, which would actually keep them alive.
It is true.
But but of course, the problem is still so now you put in
There's the
Resolute
reinforcements.
Reinforcements, and it's like, you've got so many lethal top decks here. I mean, like, any way to kill a blocker is very
Yep,
is lethal, so is, like,
which is probably just a lot of cases, right?
the 4
The
cases
Aperture might do it.
all the cases are lethal. Epicure does 1 more damage, that's not quite lethal. All the Immodanes Recruiters, so any Immodanes Recruiters are
Mhm.
lethal. War Leader's Call is lethal.
A Ganja would be a great draw right here
It
just to get the Organic out of combat.
it got is actually awesome because
Yep,
it means we don't get the free
big
life.
draw.
But yeah, like,
I mean, we're drawing like
this
10
is the
cards here
rare
for Convoke.
Soken's unlethal,
Yeah,
where
yeah. There's the case off the top.
oh,
That
yeah,
should
and
do
that
it.
yeah,
To get
I
rid of
mean
that Denic and win the game.
and they can't even counter it because if they counter it, they're tapping out of Restless with mana,
Yep.
and so, yeah, I believe Case just has to win here.
How did you see No More Lies in Mori's hand?
Um, I mean, it doesn't
Th
matter, but
This should just be it, right?
yeah, 'cause if
What are we doing?
if they had 1 more mana, they could have No More Lies available, but here, like
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 15 coming over,
and
and
2 and 3 blockers.
3 blockers. It's game. Let's get
Yeah,
out of here.
even a single removal spell doesn't do it. Yeah, like,
Yeah, that was a great showing for Convoke.
I mean,
Just
that's
being able to
yeah,
grind while being the aggressive deck.
that's the power of Convoke, right? Like, it can on the one hand, it has, like, those nut draws where it puts an
Yep.
insane amount of power on the field, but it can also play a bit of a longer game.
Yeah,
And so here
the blood
yep,
tokens, the clues, all that lets you grind a little
yeah,
bit more.
looks like you've got a repeat of last game where you're trying to use Shieldred to
The difference here is we have a Klothys on the battlefield, which I doubt the mono black deck can get rid of.
I doubt it, but it is kind of it kind of has the same clock as Shieldred there,
Yep.
where, you take 2 off Clothis, you gain 2 off Shieldred,
Yeah,
and so if
it
they
just keeps it neutral.
yeah,
Where Shieldred's doing 6 damage a turn at this point.
yeah, and Clothis gains you back 2 of that, because I believe it does drain, not it does shock and gain 2, but, like, it's just it's just not looking good for the Dinos. I mean, Dinos is hell-bent facing a 3,
Yep.
like,
So I talked to
loyalty.
Eli in between rounds 1 and 2, and he said that Shieldred is actually the biggest problem for his deck, and he said that he beat the Vampires deck because they're not playing Shieldred anymore. And I mean, these games that we've watched, Shieldred has just
Oh,
ran
yeah,
away with the game. It comes
I mean,
down
you
on
see here
4, and he can't do anything about it.
yeah, right? Like, Suda just is gonna win this game by a mile,
Yep.
and
A couple months ago, I mean, this Dinos deck would never win a game because Shieldred was just all over the place.
yeah,
Now we
and
see more Archfiend in response to the Phoenix deck, really.
I mean, because shielded, it's tough with shielded, but that 5 toughness means that it's way more acceptable to lightning axe.
Mhm.
But here, I mean, like, you see the power of just when they don't have that, like, 1 mana answer to it, it's hard to kill with 5 toughness, and it just wins the game if they can't kill
Yeah,
it,
and
right?
when
Like
Reckless Rage is your removal spell and
yeah,
pick your poison out of the sideboard to get rid of Vein Ripper, we're not playing Roast, right?
yeah, I mean,
There's no spell in here that can
it's
even kill a Shieldred.
they've got 1 copy of Witchstalker Frenzy,
That's a 4-mana Witchstalker Frenzy right now, and I'm
yeah.
not impressed with that.
And, like and when that's your best answer to it, I mean, so it's fine, but it's a one of. It's
It's a one of out of the sideboard that you already need to be ahead on board, and this mono
yeah,
black deck is never gonna
yeah,
let you do
like,
that.
even right here, if you draw the Witchstalker Frenzy, great, but, like, now at this point, even with the Witchstalker Frenzy, just the game's, like, running away from
Oh,
you.
we have Waste Not, Liliana, Shieldred,
You've got the
Gyre
Hive.
Witch, Hive, Lockthwain. I mean, this black deck is just running on all cylinders, and Dinosaurs is out of gas.
Yeah, so
I understand you gotta play it out because of your teammates, but this game's over.
And so you and, like, you see Closest, it's trying its best, but, like
But Elf off the top is just not gonna do it here.
yeah,
I'm sorry, people.
I mean
All you Dinosaurs fans out
I mean,
here,
heck
Steven Dykman included, I mean, this game's over. You know, let's
oh,
sh
yeah,
shake hands.
you saw the way Ghost playing second, hit him
Eli,
for
you're
4, didn't it?
you're dressed well, but you didn't go against Mono Black Wasteland.
Yeah, and it seems like we did answer the question of, War Dinos versus Waste Not. It comes down to Shioda,
Yeah,
and, like
Shieldred is just game breaking. Honestly, a 4/5 body is just pretty insane against these 4/4 dinosaurs, right?
yeah, I mean and, like, you also see there some Mono Black Waste Not lists, like, Dykeman's Mono Black Waste Not list has Anaxots, and
Yep.
that's also just an insane card for this to try and deal with.
Yep, there is an Aclazotz in the deck, but that's gonna trade with something, gain 4, come
Yeah,
back in 2 turns. I mean, you're
and
just
then
not
once it
beating
starts,
that
like,
card.
attacking, it's like, "Oh, yeah."
Red green can never ever exile that. So,
So you've got
all right, going back to modern
you've
here,
got Brown and Drink to Light.
we have Pindalite Scape Shift versus Blue Zoo.
Yeah, Blue Zoo,
How do you feel about that? Just hearing those 2 sentences.
I mean, I think that I like Blue Zoo here just because, like, being able to deal with them, to be able to counter any of, like, their big spells definitely seems important.
Yep,
It's also it has a nice combo of being able to present a solid clock in this kind of matchup, where, like, some other more controlling decks might just be a little bit too slow here,
yep.
but here, I mean, especially against, like, the One Ring, Blue Zoo just is able to put enough pressure in
Well,
and, like
this is not your Mama's Scape Shift deck. This is not a ramp deck. The only ramp spell is actually the Dryads.
I mean, there's also the
I don't
Sloth.
see Exploring here. Grazer is, like, card disadvantage for ramp, so you have to have the cards in hand, right? And that's why we have the One Ring. We've got, Omnath in the deck. Like, we're really slowing this
Yeah, I
down.
mean, it's kind of just a 4-color control deck. It's
Yep,
just got the
it has a combo finish in it.
yeah, but
Now,
and
one thing that I don't see in the deck that I kind of expected was their own Leyline Guild pack.
yeah,
Moving all of your lands into mountains is huge for this stuff. I mean, you see an island and forest in play.
yeah, I
If
mean,
that
like
Dryad wasn't there, we're never gonna kill them
and
with
it's actually
Valakut.
you can I've seen in Bluetooth's hand, they've got the Pick Your Poison, which is just the perfect answer to Dryad here,
Oh,
'cause
yeah, the
you just
X4 body is usually pretty big for you, but that's your poison.
and I mean, Rag constantly getting in is gonna be really annoying, like, if it ever hits the One Ring, you're kind of in
Yep,
great shape.
and I mean, the blue Zoo deck has 3 lands, and they're on a mana advantage at this point.
Yeah, like, and that's purely from Rag. Gonna cast Ven, I think
Okay,
they've got to
get
fetch
back a
him.
fetch, I see Wood of Hills in the
Yeah,
yard.
and so now you're doing the Ren thing against the when you don't even have it in the deck, like,
Yeah, and all these sorcery speed, non-creature spells they're just gonna lose to a counter spell, a stubborn denial, a force negation.
yeah,
If
then
Ray has any of those wrapped up, I mean, this game's as good as gone.
I think they've got a Scion on hand. You've also got an Alpine Moon in the hand,
Sure.
which is also gonna be useful for, like, naming Valakut and trying to stop any, like, combo finishes there,
Yep.
and so, like, I'm not a big fan. You do see Steven's got the One Ring in hand, which is at least gonna try and, like, stem the bleeding, but I'm not sure if it's just enough here because, like, there's such a board disadvantage.
Yep, I mean, we have a huge clock. Let's check for any sweepers in the main deck. I see 1 Supreme Verdict, and we have 4 Bring Delights that can go get it. So next turn, if there isn't a counter spell on the other side, we do have a chance at cleaning this board up.
And I think this is a sideboard game
Well, I
because,
would hope so at this
I mean,
point.
there's an Alpine Moon in Yuzu's hand,
Yep.
which is only a sideboard card.
Depending on, who won game 1 really makes me feel different about this game as well.
Yeah,
If Steven has a chance at a game 3,
it does look like they do,
I mean,
looking at
with the One Ring, I see Scape Shift in hand. They do have it's like Steven has a chance of winning this game, but
yeah, but I
it doesn't look great.
it doesn't look great. You've gotta especially if they just drop the Alpine Moon here naming Valakut, like, you're gonna be in a world of trouble
Yep.
because then you've gotta be able and,
Then you don't
so
have the combo finish.
but you do have Steven up a game here, so, like,
Okay.
you can definitely have them coming back to in game 3 on the play, maybe not having to worry about Rag as much, and
Yeah, and Ray's hand is terrible. I mean, there's a chance that we get a Supreme Verdict into play, or maybe even an Omnath would be able to catch Steven back up. I mean,
Yep.
that's how they lost the first time.
Yeah, I mean, you do see Ray's got another Ragavan and then, like, 2 lands, looks like.
Yeah, that is
It's
just awful against the One Ring, right?
yeah,
But, I mean, this Alpine Moon comes down. We don't have the out of, like, 7 landscape shift right now,
yeah, there's also the non
but we're gonna be drawing 3 cards next turn. I mean, we're
yeah,
gonna be stuck
attacking
on
for
this
4 with the
one.
Scion despite the fact that they do have protection
Well,
in
that's the
this.
second time we've seen Ray attack into a One Ring, after it triggered,
I
so
I mean, here might just be, keeping them on their toes, trying to
yeah, but you never know what, like, famously, Hear the Harbinger or something like that, right? Like,
yeah,
something
yeah,
that comes down, minuses, exclusively on an tapped creature, right? So
yeah,
maybe
definitely.
you just don't wanna do something like that.
Yeah, and this, it's a closed checklist event for them, so
You have no idea, it's a Bring-to-Light deck.
yeah,
This
brings
guy
up
could be playing, like, 7
so
one-ofs.
so it's Omnath. Omnath's a scary card here because, like, there's suddenly the threat of just going off with it
Yep,
and, like,
and we haven't played anything,
yeah,
so
you play a fetch, you make a billion mana, you do
this offsets
whatever.
all the work that the Ring does as well.
Yeah, and so, like, we were talking about how it doesn't look great, but with Ray having a pretty terrible hand right now, it could definitely come out that, like, Steven manages to turn the corner.
Yeah, he's got Land Ragavan in hand, and he's drawn a couple of bricks in a row. That
Yeah,
Wrenn and 6 is gonna keep getting back land, so you're really not looking for anything. And
and
and and notably, Ray's deck list only has 3 lightning bolts, so
yeah,
we're not a very aggressive Zoomer.
and given, Brandon got the 2-0 over Dinos, if Steven wins this game, they win the
The
entire
match is over,
match,
it doesn't
like
even matter what Convoke is doing right
yeah. And of course, that is the nice thing about, like, team events where
Mhm.
with Moy, even if Moy's getting crushed by Convoke, you can always get, like, some aid from their teammates and vice versa, where, like, it
Yeah, I top 8 in NRG where I won my first 4 matches and I lost my last 3, but my teammates really turned it on at the end. So,
yeah.
I mean, team events are it's great, you're hanging out with your friends, you get to play format of choice, but you also have people that, they want you to succeed, and even if you're having a bad day, they can carry you to the promised land.
Yeah, yeah.
You can go 0-7 and cash one of these tournaments, and I mean, it's such a good story when you ask how they're doing, it's like, "Oh, I didn't win a match until round 6," you know? Team events are just absolute gas.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing on on a Team Cube Draft, like, server thing,
Okay.
and it's very fun, sometimes you got, like, you owe 3, but the rest of your team manages to get those 5 out
Yep.
wins for you, or, like, you have a lot of complaint equity when you 3-0, but they can't get any wins on
Yep,
their side, it's like
and you get the classic, like, "Oh, both of us ended up in the same archetype."
yeah, yeah.
Team drafts they bring out the best and the worst in people.
Also, there's nothing that people love to do more than passing 2 Moxen, because, I mean, because you can kind of get away with it, but then it's like, you also just feel so funny doing it that, like,
Mhm.
I've seen people, like because, I mean, if you're playing Reanimator, Entomb's gonna be better for you than it's gonna be for almost anyone else, and so it's
Yep,
not crazy to take that over 2 Moxen. But then, like
and then one of your teammates is getting a piece of power, so
yeah, yeah.
it's
So
almost worth it.
it's kind of great, but then, of course, I've seen them go, like, crazily deep because everyone has a better card to pick for their deck,
Yep.
or everyone has a almost as good card for their deck.
Yeah, it's totally different than, like, doing a vintage cube on Modern.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Right, back to the game here. It looks like we played a Dryad. The Alpine Moon is still in play, but this board state, this one,
Yeah, I mean,
Steven is really strong his way through the game.
it's crazy here. Also, Omnath being able to hit walkers, I believe,
Yep,
with that 3rd
he
land figure.
can clear out his own lanes from the other side
And,
of the
of course
field.
and Mana 6 getting fairly close to no committing could
Mhm.
be definitely a way out for, like, Ray, especially with all those lands in hand. But now, I mean, like, Ray can we can start to try and attack, like, Steven, but the problem is Omnath's just gaining so much life that, like
Oh, we've all lost to Omnath gaining life, right?
yeah,
That I have famously lost to it a million times playing Hammer Time. I'm sure you have as well.
yeah,
The card just has one too many lines of text. I couldn't tell you which one is too many.
yeah.
We need some good draw steps here from Ray or else
Preordain's
here,
a pretty darn great
spin your
draw.
wheels. Let's move cardboard
Ooh,
from
there's
one
a
spot
that's
to
a ley
another.
line. I mean, hard casting a ley line
Totally worth
is
it.
like it's you get
you have to assume there's no force of negation on the other side.
Right, I mean,
This is a sorcery speed,
and
no
that might
counterspell
also
type of deck.
yes, like and I think Ray's definitely thinking about whether you I mean, it can certainly present some aspect of the clock.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
but they're putting it to the bottom, which is a little bit
no,
wild.
they had to really? Oh, he might not have seen it.
That seems crazy to me. Like,
Oh, that I mean, that's a 6/6 flying trampling, right? Hexproof, like, that lay or the Scion of Draco could have
yeah,
just
I mean,
ran away with this
it's
game,
and
right?
yeah, like, hitting them for 4 every turn, gaining 4, like, Lag becomes scary, none of your creatures are susceptible to removal anymore. That seems really good. I'm pretty surprised that they didn't end up going for it, like, especially given so now they do have a counterspell on hand, like, man,
Yeah, but that Omnath is intact, and, I mean, we're not gaining life here.
yeah,
So we're at
and
6.
yeah, you're at 6. Omnath's got you really close to dead. Like, no,
I'd
you've
I'd
got
love to see a pick your poison, catch your Alpine Moon because you don't have a ley line in play, and then scape shift you out here with that Dryad.
yeah, I mean,
Seems like everything's coming up Steven here. In a couple turns, I mean, we were talking this game might have just been over, time to pack it up.
but seems like they have really,
Omnath was the perfect draw.
Omnath was great here. The Wing's been powering through their deck, and you see, even without, like, even with Alpine Moon kind of shutting
Oh,
off your main, and yeah,
there's the pick your
you
poison.
see the pick your poison, and you
Do we
hit.
have a Bring to Light? There's a
See,
counterspell
you've
over
got a
there.
counterspell in hand. But even then, if you counter the Blink Delight or you counter the Escape Shift,
Oh,
kind of
using
whatever,
it
right?
on the pick your poison.
I also am not a big fan of that, but
I would never.
and now you Prismatic, and now you see
Yep.
Prismatic
Now you
Ending
have no
blowing you out.
counterspell.
Yeah, no counterspell. Light wins the game instantly here, right? Because you've got Riot up, so you sack all your stuff and get
And
out.
there it
Yep,
is. Mhm.
and that's why you wanted to save the counterspell, right? Because
Yep.
if you save the counterspell to be able to hit that,
Yeah, I mean, Steven had 8 cards in hand. You have to imagine that there's a couple of different ways to answer that Alpine Moon, and
yeah,
he was just setting it up there,
and it's
and
also, I
that's
mean,
the
that's
game.
probably if you're countering a one mana spell, it's just not doing that much for them.
Yeah,
And so yeah,
you're even, like, mana negative in
yeah,
that extreme, so that was just not good at
and so
all.
that's the game and the match,
Yep,
and like, and almost feel bad for Seth Grove here, who's just convoking off, but
yep, sometimes it just doesn't matter.
yep,
I'm glad that we got to watch the game from
yep,
that is the match. Looks like we have Steven, Brandon, and Maury going to 3-0 in this team event.
yeah, wow, and the Dinos do pick up their first loss, you know?
It was bound to happen
Yeah,
eventually, right? I mean, we can't live in magical Christmas land all day.
yeah.
I'm surprised that Dinos made it this far. I'm happy for them. They
I
still
mean,
have a chance to make the top 4.
3-1 has good chances of, trying to win in, like, they can
Yep,
if they rattle off 2 here, they can still totally
yep.
but I
There's a
believe
lot of magic left to
yeah,
play.
I believe Steven, Brandon, and Boy on are potentially able to double draw here
Yep,
to try
there
and
is
get
a
the
good
top
chance.
4, so,
It depends, do they want to try and get the play for
yeah,
all of top 4, right?
and, I mean, there's a bit of problem where because it's top 4, not a top 8,
Yep.
like, that means that
It's gonna be really tight when we come down to
yeah,
breakers.
and when you draw the first time, then you're not playing against 3 0-1s. You're gonna be up against 3 and 1s, and they
Yep,
probably can't draw.
yep. So
And
then you're
so
gonna have to play your
and
last
so you're
round.
gonna have to play a last round. So you might not be able to draw there.
Yeah, I think that they're still in a position where they can play it out.
Yeah,
I
and of course
imagine whoever the other 3-0 is, they'll also play it out. It's
yep,
too
and
risky at this point.
it's just too risky, and also when you're 4-0, 4-0-1 just completely clears into
Yep.
the, like, into on the play and all that, and so
At the last, Swiss Trios, my team had top 4, and we drew at table 2, and we had the best breakers on everybody because the only person we lost to was the 4-0. The team that we drew with had actually drawn themselves out because
oh,
another
wow,
team
yeah.
sitting at one of the last tables that they played in round 1 lost their last match, and it dropped them down about 3 percentage points. In these 5-round tournaments, every single loss from your opponents
Oh, yeah,
matters.
it hurts, right? Like,
So, unless you have the absolute best breakers, that 3-1, I mean, we're gonna see a lot of good magic and a lot of high level magic at the end of the day.
if you think about it, right, you've got a 8-round event, and if you assume that each of your 8 rounds, you're playing against someone who also plays all 8 of their rounds, which, it's a bit of an assumption,
Mhm.
but that's gonna end up with 64 total rounds that your opponents play,
Yep,
where in a 5-round event, that's only 25, and that's a big difference
yep,
there, right?
we're
Like,
I mean, you're looking at 4 percentage points for every single move.
yeah,
And these team events, we actually record it as 1-0 instead of like a 2-1. So your
yeah.
opponent match win percentage is just gonna be super skewed every single move.
Oh, definitely, right? Like, and so that's one of the things where, like, it becomes really scary to try and draw in. Like, you never know when, especially if you're like a 3 and 1, if you try and draw in, there's gonna be some 3 and 1s who don't draw and play, win
And they
4
can
and
jump
1,
you,
and
that
then they just
4-1
completely
jumps
dump
you.
you.
Yeah,
And like, and
it's gonna
so
be a really tight race at the end of the day.
yeah, so there's probably gonna be a ton of people playing it in their last round to get to the top 4. But that's how it is sometimes.
Well, that concludes round 3 here at the Swish Gaming Trio, sponsored by All Star Sports and Games here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Uh, I believe Steven will be back in the booth next round. I'll be taking that one off, and Robbie will still be bringing you that great commentary and play-by-play.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think we're going to commercial here. See you guys in around, 10 minutes.